Welcome back to another episode of Living My Breastless Life. Today, we have special guest, Giselle Wallace. Giselle is a certified life coach and author. She has a master's degree in human behavior, a bachelor's of science in journalism, and a degree in public relations. Giselle conducts a coaching service for LGBTQ individuals to help them navigate through life with coaching experience designed to preserve their willingness and ability to lead authentic lives amid social injustices, homophobia, neglect, prejudice, and being ostracized because of their sexual orientation. We discuss what she does as a lesbian life coach and what led her to this career. Giselle shares about the books she has written and who would benefit from reading them. She also shares some insight into the down low lifestyle in the Black community. I'm so excited to share this episode with y'all. So let's go. Welcome to Living My Breastless Life podcast. I'm your host, HPG. In season 2, you'll continue to hear about how we can heal no matter what we go through, some tips and truths for self-improvement, and some little nuggets of wisdom for finding yourself on your path. I'll be hosting some mini-sodes, interviewing some awesome guests, and of course, some episodes with my occasional co-host, Martha. So let's go. So tell us about what you do as a lesbian life coach and what led you to this path.
As a lesbian life coach, I actually service the LGBTQ community, and I specialize specifically with people who struggle with intertwining their sexuality with their faith or spirituality, because that was what I initially struggled with. I do come from an upbringing where we went to church and they weren't accepting of homosexuality. And as I grew up over the years, I began to observe and notice that I wasn't the only one struggling with maintaining my faith as well as being comfortable in my sexuality as a lesbian woman. So I saw a great need for that in our community. And it turns out my instincts was right in my observations, because many people struggle. They kind of like, they're like living double lives. Like they are being however they identify, whether that's lesbian, gay, bisexual, pansexual, queer, but they do not know how to associate their faith or spirituality in the same mechanism. So I help and I teach and I coach people how to do that.
I think that's wonderful. I think that in my experience as a lesbian woman, I've experienced a very similar situation. How long have you been working with folks in this capacity?
I actually became certified as a life coach in 2018. So I've been coaching since 2018, but my business started in 2021.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm in the process of doing that now. It's not an easy task. So you are an author. I want to hear about your book.
Well, I have a new project out and it's called Lesbian Erasure, How to Cope, Black Lesbian Edition. And this project actually stemmed from being on social media and seeing so much arguing and debating amongst heterosexual people and same-sex attracted people, specifically lesbian women who are Black women. And there's this stigma in the African American community that we can't be gay. You know, it's really ridiculous, but there's just this stigma. And I decided to write this book to combat that, because clearly women of all nationalities, colors, and races are not all heterosexual. And being a Black woman and knowing how it is to grow up in a community or be in a society that only considers you as heterosexual, I needed to address it. And when Black women actually are on social media and they're showing their relationships, many women are married, they have their own families and children. And when they're attacked viciously by people and saying that, you know, the way their lives are is not pleasing to God, I I did not think that I should allow that type of dogma to continue to permeate on social media outlets, as well as just me, myself, as a life coach. I feel like I have the opportunity and responsibility to address such issues. And I did. I did it. First, I would post about it to address a lot of the misconceptions. And many women, and not just Black women, Caucasian, Asian, Hispanic, they would say, thank you for posting that, for letting people know that our lives matter. We're real, we exist, and we shouldn't be attacked for it. So that's how the idea of my book came.
I love that. I think that's really cool. Who would you say that the book is for? Like, who is the target audience for the book?
Well, the Black Lesbian edition is primarily targeting Black women in the sense of we experience certain, I guess, discrimination that other women who identify as lesbian do not, such as there's this misconception that Black women are all heterosexual, and other races are freer to be themselves than Black women. But the book addresses all lesbian women, or women who identify as same-sex attracted, whether that's bisexual, pansexual, or queer. And I mentioned that in the book as well. So every woman who is same-sex attracted will be able to relate or find some type of solace in the book. And I think it's important for every woman who lives in a heteronormative society to be able to have coping mechanisms, because we deal with lesbian erasure every day and we don't process how it affects us. And this book is going to help you to be more conscious of it and to be able to navigate through life in a more healthier manner.
I think that's really awesome. So I think it sounds like the book would help maybe deepening some understanding in a heteronormative world, because I just want people to know that, like, we're just really quote unquote normal, whatever that means. Just trying to exist in the world and live in peace and try to love everybody as best we can.
Absolutely. And I listened to some episodes on your podcast, Living My Breastless Life, and very, very touching, very heartfelt, and necessary messages. And I did actually listen to like your very first episode, like the first 2 or 3 episodes, the last episode. And I just want to commend you for embracing your family and being yourself. And I admire your strength to go through cancer. I have family members who have gone through it, and it's been very close to me. As a matter of fact, I used to work with the company that serviced cancer patients with medications, and so I spoke with patients all the time. And I respect you, and I wish you and your wife and your daughter well.
Thank you very much. It's been interesting from a lot of angles, and I try to keep it really positive and think of like, what could I learn and how can I help? So I've seen you post about and I'm going to do air quotes, nobody can see me, but the DL on your socials. Can you share more insight on what that means and what that means to you, and like what message you're trying to send? I'm really curious about that.
Yes, the DL is short for the down low. And I have a book. It was my first book. It's called She a Lesbian, Finding My Identity in Genesis. And it actually addresses the down low and what the down low is, because some people have the down low idea as only relating to men exclusively. But what it means is when you are a same-sex attracted person, and being same-sex attracted, just to define it, is when you are physically, sexually attracted to the same sex or same gender. And you can be a man or a woman, or male or female. And some people do not accept their sexuality. They're in denial about their sexuality as a same-sex attracted person, and they don't identify as gay or lesbian or bisexual. And so they do take on the title of the down low because they are actively involved in a heterosexual relationship. Many of them are married, and they use that as a way to deceive people or to hide the fact that they are involved sexually with people of the same sex. And it's an issue because, for one, you're not accepting yourself and you're in denial about who you are. And secondly, you're negatively affecting other people in your life. The people that you choose to date or marry or have sexual relationships with are impacted by your behavior. So it's important to address because I'm huge on acceptance. And I believe that the only way you can have an ideal life is by being yourself, being authentic. And people who live on the down low, we may look at them and judge them negatively, but they have a reason for why they are on the down low. And more than likely, it's because they've been discriminated against early on in life. Because I have met people who were out and they went back in the closet and went on the down low because of how they were treated, moved to different locations, different states, took on a whole new identity. So it's a real issue. And women who are on the down low, there are some differences, which we probably don't have time to go into. There are some nuances between a man and a woman on the down low, as far as their reasons for being on the down low. But my biggest issue with the down low is, of course, you not being yourself, but also a lot of people who are in the church environment who pretend to be heterosexual and they speak down on homosexual people. I have a huge issue with that because that causes the problem with you not being able to be yourself or have a personal relationship with God. Because you have people who are same-sex attracted going against same-sex attracted people in the church.
I just want to say thank you for sharing that and giving some voice to it. And I can relate to something that you said really stuck out to me about like almost going back to the heterosexual life. Because I thought about it because it is easier, but I chose not to do that. And here I am.
I've experienced early in my life of just the pressure of trying to be accepted and to fit in. So I think we all can kind of relate to people on the down low. And it's just, it breaks my heart that people have to hide who they are and they don't have the support or they don't have enough information on how to be able to express themselves and be themselves. There's so many dynamics they have to deal with, and I think it's affects us all in a way because people who identify as gay, lesbian, bisexual, or LGBTQ, we've probably all been involved with someone who's been on the down low.
You are probably right. So tell the listeners where they can find you. I'll post all your information in the show notes, but where are you most active on social media? If somebody's listening and they want to get in touch with you, can you share the best way to reach you?
Yes. Well, I have my own website where you can personally connect with me. And my website is www.gisellewallace.com. And that's spelled Giselle. And my last name is Wallace, Wallace. And on social media, you can find me on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. And I'm more active, I guess, on Twitter and Instagram. And my handle is the @ Giselle A. Wallace. And that's my handle. And I'm also on YouTube with the same handle, Giselle A. Wallace.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you for being on the show today.
I really appreciate you for inviting me. I enjoyed my time with you today.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Living My Breastless Life. Head over to Instagram and follow According to HPG to stay connected to the show. Go get your mammograms.